Here at Spoonful of Strength, we want to make this podcast interactive. We want to hear your stories and we want you involved in our conversations. Follow Spoonful of Strength on Instagram, where we will post questions throughout the week. Your answers may be shared on our podcast. Do you have a story to share? Send us a message on Spoonful of Strength on Instagram with your health journey, and we may interview you on this show. Welcome to Spoonful of Strength, a podcast for people with chronic illness and the ones who love them, where we talk all things chronic. Here's your host, Rachel and Tina.
Welcome to Spoonful of Strength. Today we're going to talk about support, how you can support those that are living through chronic illness, whether they be the person afflicted themselves, the caregivers, those that love them. We'll talk about some different ideas of how you can support them. And also today we're talking with Dawn from Cards2Warriors about their special program of offering support for those going through a chronic illness.
We're really excited to talk to her. Just from what I've looked at online, it's a great program, and they include everybody. So if you even have a caretaker, you definitely want to listen to this interview, because I'm excited to learn a little bit more about that. How's your week been going?
My week has not been too bad. Ironically, I hopped on to record this, though. I ran to the grocery store for a few things that I need to make for the weekend, and came home with the main ingredient. I was making up a batch of homemade coney sauce, and got home and realized that I completely forgot the hamburger, which is the main thing I actually need to make the sauce. So there goes the cognitive. My cognitive struggles. The sad thing is like no less than 5 times walking through the store, I was like, I need to go get that hamburger. I need to go get the hamburger. And didn't double check my list before I left, because I was trying to get home and with time to spare to get ready for this recording. And then I get home and realize that I forgot the hamburger. So I'll be making another trip out
I think
to
we
the
could
store
make a
later.
whole episode just on grocery store missteps, because I
Pretty
have them
much.
all
Yeah.
the time. I do that
Yeah.
all the time. It's so frustrating, but
Yeah.
let's go ahead and bring in Dawn.
All right.
So welcome, Dawn. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Tina and Rachel. It is so nice to be here with you today.
Oh, great. Well, I found your organization as I was scrolling endlessly through Instagram, and it caught my eye, and I definitely wanted to find out a little bit more about your organization. And also, we wanted to share it so that more people can use your resources. So can you tell us a little bit like what your role is in Cards2Warriors?
Sure. I am the co-founder, and I function like the executive director in the organization. We started it. It's been about 4 years now, and we are all about snail mail support. When you live with an illness, you guys know how it is. It's lonely, it's isolating, people don't understand. And as we've navigated life with illness, we just realized that there just needs to be some support now for people. Someone needs to meet them right where they are today, not in 3 months when there's new treatments, or not, when their next doctor's appointment, but just in the moment. And so we started snail mail cards, and it has been amazing. Like the timing of the cards showing up exactly when they're needed. It's just so much joy coming through the mail. It's been such fun.
That's awesome. I know when I was first diagnosed with my cancer and started my treatments, I received all kinds of cards in the mail from people. I absolutely loved it, and it just can be so uplifting. So tell us a little bit more about the Cards2Warriors, how it came about, and
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to. So I'm a radiation therapist by trade, so I used to treat cancer patients. And so I know how that journey goes for you from the treating side of it. And the one thing with cancer, as you found, is that's usually a finite amount of time, for the most part. And everyone shows up at the beginning, right? Everyone's there in the crisis moment, everyone's there, and then it drags on, and then you add in chronic illness and it just drags on and on and on. And people just have lives to get back to, and they have things going on. So I treated cancer patients, and then when my daughter was 4, she quit walking. It took them a while to figure out what was going on, but it turns out that she has mixed connective tissue disease. So her mix is unusual in that she has juvenile arthritis, which most people have heard of, so that attacks her joints, dermatomyositis, which attacks her muscles, and then scleroderma, which attacks the skin and internal organs, and then Raynaud's, which affects the circulation. So she had she didn't really have a place to fit. We always went with the arthritis kids because that had the most support, but she wasn't a true fit there. And so when we were looking for ways to support people with illness, we wanted to incorporate chronic illness, rare disease, and welcome everyone who doesn't have a home. Even those who are undiagnosed or who are carriers are welcome to be part of any of our programs, because the journey to diagnosis can sometimes be years. And in that interim time, you're just in limbo waiting. You're waiting for answers. You're waiting for treatment options. You're waiting to figure out what's going on. And you still need support, and nobody understands what you're going through. And so that is how we got to the place where we welcome everyone. We're not disease specific at all. We also welcome caregivers, siblings, and medical professionals to sign up to receive cards with us. So we know that it takes the village, right? It takes everybody working together to get you along this path and this journey, and that there's good days and there's bad days and bad periods of time. So we're just here to support in any way we can those who are walking whatever the illness journey looks like for them in that moment. We've got people who are bedbound, who've been bedbound for years, and we've got people who are still able to work, but people at work don't understand. So I think that's our niche, is we're that place where people understand and where you can get support and nobody questions you. We're like, oh yeah, we love you, we see you, we support you at wherever you're at in the moment.
Mhm. And I've seen a lot of your cards on your Instagram page. They're beautiful, beautiful cards.
Thank you.
So how does one go about, like, if they wanted to receive cards for themselves, what's that process look like?
So it's super easy. You just go to the website, Cards2Warriors.org. And there's and then you pick if you're a caregiver or illness warrior or sibling. So you pick that, and then you just fill out the form. It's that easy. And then you go into our master database, and you are eligible to receive cards with us from that point moving forward. We do send out an email every 3 to 4 months for everyone to verify their information. And that way we can make sure we have current mailing addresses. People will update their diagnoses if they want at that time, or share information with us. So it just helps us keep our database current so that we're not wasting postage on somebody who's not going to be able to receive it, especially for our internationals. That's one really cool thing. We do send 10% of our cards go internationally. And so, which is just fun. There's so many people in other countries that don't have any support, and cards like Christmas morning sometimes.
Yeah. Now, if somebody signs up for themselves, about how many cards do they receive? What time?
That's a great question. So the fun thing with us is you just never know. So we have 6 cards that go out every year, 1 a quarter plus a bonus card. We do 2 in the last quarter. So we do 1 in the first quarter, 1 in the second quarter. We just sent out 1,200 cards with the theme handwritten with love. And so 1,200 cards went out to people, and they were all handwritten, most of them by our student volunteers across the state of Florida. That's where we are. So that was just a super cool project. That's probably some of the cards you've seen in the last week or two. Our other cards, we call our specialty themed cards, and all the artwork is done by an artist who lives with illness. And they go out for special themes. So our next one will be our annual Christmas in July card, which is just a fun American concept. What state are y'all in?
I'm from Indiana.
And I'm
Okay.
in Maryland.
Okay, so further north, but here, okay, here in the South, we're sweltering already. And so I think the concept of snow and Christmas lights just kind of gets us through those super hot months of July and August. So we
Yeah.
started the Christmas in July theme a few years ago, and it's just fun and lighthearted. So anyone who signs up now will be eligible to receive one of those cards. And then every card mailing depends on the amount of funding we have at that time and the number of recipients. And we rotate, like if somebody received a card recently, or they haven't received a card in a while, they have a better chance to receive one coming up. So we have a goal to send 100,000 cards. And we're over 36,000 so far. So we would just be delighted if your audience would sign up with us to receive a card, because it's fun. And the beautiful thing is you never know when it's going to come. We have like I said, we have our set ones that go out quarterly. But then we have handwritten cards that go out throughout the entire year. And you'll see when you sign up, have either one of you registered with us yet?
Not yet.
I have not.
Okay. Okay. Well, when you do, you'll see there's a box on the form that says, please share any information here that's okay to share with others. All the other information we protect completely. And the information that you give us permission to share allows our volunteer groups to make a card just for you. So for example, if you put in that little box, you can put disease information or not disease information, it doesn't matter. But you might put things like my favorite color is blue and I have a little chihuahua and my favorite movie is whatever, or I'm a huge sports fan, and put your favorite team, whatever it is that can make connection points so that the volunteer that writes a card for you can write a special note, and they'll be able to say something that really resonates with you and that oh my gosh, this person is really thinking about me and pouring all this love into this card right in this moment. And I think that's what really makes us unique. We get permission from those who sign up to be able to share a little bit of information. And then we have teams from all over the country. We actually have a team from Canada that wants to sign up and do 50 cards, 100 cards. So people are finding out. So when those happen, you just never know. Those cards come in, we check them all, we put labels on them and send them out. So those are the surprise and delight moments that you just never know when they're going to arrive.
Yeah.
So how does somebody go about nominating another person?
Yes. So thank you for asking that. We have a special program. So our first program is our Happy Mail program. And those are our cards that go out quarterly and our random handwritten cards. So that's our Happy Mail. If somebody's going through a really tough time, when you live with an illness, you find your balance, you find your normal, and then there's those things that just come out of left field and knock you sideways. And so the nomination program is for those times in life. And so we call that our Warriors in Crisis program. And we actually have a whole group of volunteers who live with illness who write cards for those people. So there's an actual nominate a warrior place on our website that you can nominate someone if they're going through a tough time. Now, if they're not going through a tough time, an extra tough time, I should say, because it's all tough, right?
Yep.
But if you just want to sign someone up with their permission for the Happy Mail program, you can just sign them up on the website for the Happy Mail. You just put in their email address so that they get the notifications, and that's easy to do. And then there's a separate form if you're going to nominate them, and it's the same thing. You just put a little bit more information about what they're going through and what kind of support they need. And then with our program, they'll get anywhere from 5 to 10 cards will randomly show up in the mail for that person, depending on the number of nominations we have, how many active card crew members we have in the moment. But we have a whole secure portal process for all of that.
Okay, great. So how much does it cost to nominate or to send a card, or is it based on accepting donations?
Okay, so it's free. And we tell everyone it's free. It does not cost you a thing to sign up to receive cards. We do run monthly $5 fundraisers. So in our program, it's $5. We'll send 2 cards. So every month on the 5th, we'll post a $5 fundraiser. but that does not affect anyone's ability to get a card. We
I
had a
love
lot
it.
of people, especially international. So we do have two different donor levels that someone can do if they really want to, that guarantees them one of our specialty cards every time. So we have a Zebra and a Dazzle donor level if they want to, but it doesn't you don't have to donate anything. You can receive cards with never donating a dollar, which is why our sponsors are so amazing and so important.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the Zebra and the Dazzle Club?
Sure. Yep. We have a Zebra donor level, which is $50 a year. So you can do $5 a month, $50 a year, and that guarantees the person one of the specialty cards. So they'll get a guarantee of 6 cards a year. A lot of times people will gift that to someone, or for our international warriors, they wanted a way to make sure they could get cards because we send 10% and we have so many international signups. So we came up with this way that they could help cover postage and help, and it just, everything goes towards sending more cards, but it guarantees them 6 cards a year minimum. And then the Dazzle is $10 a month or $100 a year. And it's the same thing. You get a minimum of 6 cards a year and you get a t-shirt. So it's just a cool way to support other fellow warriors. So they get cards and to guarantee that person that they get at least the 6 main cards a year.
Great, great. So let me give you a scenario here
Sure.
because we're creating Spoonful of Strength to bring very similar, you know, bring people together no matter what illness they have. And so let's say I have an Instagram friend and they're going through a rough time and I want to send them or get them subscribed and nominate them. What is the process? Do you have to find and get their address before, or like how would
Yes.
that work?
Yes. So if they're just an online friend and you don't have their information, you would just reach out to them and say, hey, I'd really like to nominate you to get some cards of support. Here's the information that I need. And you would need their name, obviously their full name. A lot of times we don't know their whole name online, do we?
Yep.
So their name, you need their mailing address, their date of birth. That's really important because if they're young, we get parental permission before things just start showing up at somebody's house. And just, it's always good to just have permission to share a bit about them before you nominate them. So that's what you would do. And then you would just go to the website, or you could send them the link if you think they would be willing to nominate themselves. We do have a lot of people who nominate themselves once they find out about our program. We encourage that actually, because, you know, sometimes it's so hard to ask for help. And so we encourage people to ask for help. The actual nomination where they get specific handwritten cards for a tough time, people are eligible for that once every, it's 18 to 24 months. So, you know, go on those times that you really need it, you know, new diagnosis, surgery, loss of a service dog, those big things. And then our Happy Mail program, it just runs all the time. So that's always an easy nomination too.
So if somebody wants to make a donation to your organization, how do we go about that?
Yep. Sure. Just go right to the website, cards2warriors.org, and click the donate button. We also have a super easy way you can donate with PayPal or Venmo. If you're on Venmo, it's just at Cards2Warriors. And you can just send, we have people all the time that send us $5 or $10 on Venmo. It's like the easiest donation ever. And we, you know, we are really good about, we don't bug our donors, for lack of a better word. We do acknowledge them if they share mailing addresses. We acknowledge them twice a year with the number of cards that they've been that they've made possible. So if somebody donates, for example, $5 a month, that's 2 cards a month. So at the end of the year, they would have personally been responsible for 12 or 24 people getting this joy in their mail. So we do acknowledge that twice a year.
Great, great. So are there any other ways besides donation if somebody wants to get involved with Cards2Warriors? What other ways can they support your organization?
Absolutely. If one of the reasons we set up our card crew is because we found so many times people who live with illness or they get diagnosed, you lose a sense of who you are, you lose your job, or you lose your career, or you lose your friends. There's so much loss. And it's easy to to go down those rabbit holes and feel like, hey, how do I even contribute? You know, if I can't even leave my house, how can I be part of something that I really feel good about? And so with our card crew, they're able to volunteer and they can write cards, they can make cards. People their whole creative side comes out. So it's they're always anyone's welcome to sign up for our card crew. We always have volunteer positions, ambassadors. There's a whole list on our website of current volunteer opportunities, and we would welcome anyone. Even if you're receiving cards, please sign up if you want to be a volunteer. And I will say this too, we want to send 100,000 cards. So don't not sign up because you think somebody needs it worse. Like every person who lives with illness or cares for someone with illness deserves that opportunity to have somebody just pour a little love and delight on them. So I would ask everyone, if you hear this, please go to the website and sign up so that we can drop some love on you because you absolutely 100% deserve it.
That was a wonderful, wonderful message. I love that everybody needs a little joy in their mailbox every now and then.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Even your husbands who are the caregivers, or you know, your kids who are helping to take care of you, like whoever is a caregiver, or your favorite nurse, like get them to sign up because you know, everyone's making a difference and everyone's part of this whole path. So we just welcome everyone.
So you mentioned your website. Are there other ways that our followers can find you? Different social
Sure.
media.
Yep, we're on social media, mostly Instagram and Facebook, and it's at Cards2Warriors, the number 2. Yes. And that's where you get reminders and emails and share cards. So yeah, we would welcome anyone to sign up with us. We're also on LinkedIn for those who are on there as well.
What a wonderful organization. I just can't.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that I found this, and I'm just so happy that you're doing that because it is true. I mean, you, especially with a chronic illness, you get diagnosed and it's new and everybody's there for you, but you look 2-3 years out, you know, and you're still have the illness, but it's nice to be able to get something in the mail that you can open up and brighten your day and all of that. So we're definitely going to sign up. I have a surgery coming up. I may sign up my husband because he's going to be major caretaker for me. So we will definitely do that. And Tina and I would like to send a donation. So when we're done here, we will send a donation. And we just want to share this organization and everything that you're doing is just wonderful. So really appreciate, Dawn, you taking time out to talk to us about this. And my hope is that everybody on our Instagram and Facebook will sign up, nominate somebody, make a donation if they can. And let's see if we can't get you to that 100,000 this year.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. It's just been wonderful to talk to you both. And yes, please nominate yourself for your surgery so that we can send you cards of encouragement as you're recovering, because we all know what that's like. And we'd just be delighted to have you as part of our community. So we appreciate it so much. Thank you.
We thought we'd take a brief pause in our podcast to enjoy what I call a mini mindful moment. Now, mindfulness is, if you're not familiar with the concept, that is the practice of just being present in this particular moment in time. We're not thinking about things that have happened in the past. We're not thinking of things that are coming up. We're simply in this here and now. So I encourage you to join us on a little mindful moment here as I guide you through how to quiet your mind. One of my favorite techniques of that is simply become focused on my breath. So if you settle in, close your eyes, try to quiet your mind, and simply focus on taking a nice deep breath in through your nose, feeling it all the way down from your diaphragm all the way up, and hold it. and then release that breath through the mouth. One big, long breath out. And there should be no other thoughts going through your mind. Just simply focus on breathing in. Nice deep breath in through the nose and hold it. And deep breath out through your mouth, releasing all that tension in your body. Feeling yourself connected to nothing more than your body and your mind. You hear any outside noises, just simply push them away. Only concentrate on that breath. Deep breath in, hold it, and a nice long breath out. And if you find your mind starting to wander, just bring it back to focusing on nothing more than the process of those deep breath in all the way through the very bottom of your pit of your stomach, all the way up into your lungs. Nice and deep breath, and hold it. And a nice deep breath out. Simply quieting your mind and focusing only on those nice deep breaths in and a long breath out. And then take just a couple seconds, a few more breaths on your own. I won't guide you through these. If you find your mind starting to wander, just bring it right back to just focusing on the breath and nothing more. Give you a couple seconds to do a few deep breaths. And on your last exhale, nice deep exhale, and open your eyes and come back to the present moment and join us back on the remainder of our podcast.
Tina, are you just amazed at what a wonderful organization this is? It's even better than I thought before the interview. I'm just amazed. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. Their mission is just it's very uplifting to see what their goal is, what their focus is, and it's such an amazing opportunity for those that are struggling just to simply bring joy.
Yeah. Yep. Do you want to share cards, the number 2, warriors.org? You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, and also at that website. We ask that everybody go online and sign up yourself to receive cards. Think about the people that help you live your chronic illness life, your caregivers, nurses, things like that. Sign them up with their permission, nominate them, and we've got to help them get to their goal of 100,000 cards. And I think we've got a great group in our Spoonful group that we can make it try and help them make that happen. So Tina, let's talk a little bit before we close out the show, a little bit about other ways that people can help somebody with chronic illness, or how we can even help each other through our illness. So I think a big one is emotional support. I think that's a huge one because of the ups and downs of the disease, and and we have our good days, we have our bad days and things like that. So I know for me, when people show empathy is a big deal for me, because my husband always says, I don't understand what you're going through, but I still feel for what I can see that you're going through, and, you know, provide just that empathy of, I'm so sorry this is going on, and just a hug or a kiss or whatever it might be, and just validating, my feelings, my experiences, and knowing my struggles that happen, in this ride we call chronic illness. What about you, Tina?
Yeah, I agree with you there as far as being shown, having others be empathetic towards what you're going through, and just feeling understood and seen and
Mm-hmm.
heard is just it's so important to feel validated
Mm-hmm.
with what you're going through.
Especially because sometimes we don't get that validation from our doctors. And so, having somebody there with you at a doctor's appointment and just being able to let them know that, you're here for them, and be on the ride with them. So, what other ways do you think we can support our community?
And we talked a little bit about this, I believe, in a previous episode too, of just actually, it was kind of falling in line with managing our daily lives, but for those that are trying to support their loved ones is helping with those, just practical support of helping with the daily tasks of grocery shopping, meals, yard work, housework, those type of things, meal prep. If you're one that preps your meals for the week, it doesn't take a whole lot of extra effort to prep a one or two more meals for somebody else that may be struggling with that.
Yeah. If you're going through a flare, it's always nice to not have to worry about dinner or going to the grocery if you are experiencing more fatigue or just emotionally going through a rough time. That's a big help, to just help with getting to appointments. I've gone to a lot of appointments by myself just because my husband's schedule, and so even offering, let me know if you need me to go to your appointment with you. Especially I have, we all have some cognitive issues, and so I always like to have somebody there that can take notes and make sure that I've grasped everything that the doctor said, and made sure all of our questions are answered. So those are just a few things. One of the things that I think is a good tip for people who want to provide support is just asking the person with the chronic illness, how can I support you? Because a lot of times you don't know what to do. And maybe making a meal is not going to be a big deal for me, because maybe, I've already got meals in the freezer that need done, or I don't need anything at the grocery store. So offering that, but sometimes it's as simple as just saying, okay, I know you're going through this flare. It must be so difficult for you. What can I do to help? Would you like for me to do A, B, or C? And really talking to them about what they need the most. For me, that's something that helps me out, because I can really think about what's going to help the most.
And I think you made a valid point of saying, how can I help you? Do you need me to do A, B, or C? Versus just saying, let me know if I can do anything to help. Because a lot of times when we're dealing with, our daily lives, we don't necessarily have the brain capacity to know what we need the most from other people. But also, just simply saying, like, one of our Instagram followers, when you had posed the question of what's the best way someone can support you through your chronic illness, and Madre Autoimmune's response was saying, just saying I'm here, is a good way to support, but as an add-on to that is just offering very specific tasks, because making that too, I know for me, if people who would just come generally say, what do you need? Or, let me know what you need. I didn't during that time, those hard days, I don't have the mental capacity to figure out what I need.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you feel like, are they just, sometimes saying, let me know what you need, it's kind of rolling off the tongue. It's not, they're just saying that. And so sometimes it can feel like, are they really wanting to help?
Right. And that can be frustrating too, because if there's people that say, hey, let me know what you need, and then you do, for some, it's difficult to reach out to other people and feel like you need to, that you can rely on them. And then if those that keep saying, hey, let me know if you need help with anything, and then you reach out and because you need help and they're not there because it was just, it's important to be able to follow through with that offer as well.
Mhm.
Or, and if it doesn't work that moment in time, be like, I'm so sorry, it doesn't work for me to help you out now, but can I help you with this task next week or something like that?
Yeah.
Versus, otherwise that person's just gonna not, they're gonna be like, what's the point of me reaching out and asking for help if
Yeah. It's more of
all
a
it is
hassle.
just, talk.
Yeah, we did get a Instagram response. The question that I had posted is what is the best way someone can support you through a chronic illness? And I really like this one here. It's from EDS and me _RC. Said, look for places that accompany us and still invite us out. So like if you're in a wheelchair, for somebody to say, I would love for you to come with us tonight. This restaurant has wheelchair capability, or I would love for you to go bowling. This bowling alley has a ramp set up so you can bowl, things like that, and to still invite you to places. So just because you're battling a chronic illness and maybe aren't feeling well, I always tell my family, because I'm notorious for saying I can't come. And I told them, I said, invite me and understand I might say no, that I'm, depending on how I feel, but at least still invite me, because it makes me feel like you still want me there, even if I say no 90% of the time.
Yeah, that's very important, is still to feel included, even if you're not up to, in the moment, you're not up to going, you still feel wanted.
Yep. Yep. What other things can you think of?
One thing that a lot of people may be in the situations as they go through chronic illness is, and it can be a difficult topic to talk to other people about, are the financial strains of
Mhm.
an illness. If you're unable to work and you may not have coverage, disability coverage, short-term disability, any paid time off, that type of thing, or you're on Social Security disability, that's still only a small portion of what you may have used to bring in. So there's definitely a big financial aspect of that. And so consider, if you're in the situation of reaching out and saying, hey, can I help you financially? Do you have copays that are getting out of hand? Do you need me to do some type of fundraiser if you need some sort of large, some big expense, or just, it doesn't even have to be a big expense, just even daily living expenses, or
Mhm.
that type of thing. I think the financial aspect has a big impact, but it's also the most difficult for people to talk about.
Yeah. And even we talked about meal trains earlier, that even is a financial support, by
Mhm.
helping them with meals. That's taking a little bit off their plate as far as having to spend grocery money and things like that, or meal trains. I know there's an online service that you can sign up for meal trains, something like that.
Right, right. DoorDash gets very expensive. We did that for a while and then started realizing how much money we were spending just because I wasn't able to cook. So I had to come up with some different like quick meal plans type thing. Otherwise, you could easily spend, even for just two people, $200-300 extra in DoorDash a week versus
Yeah.
what would normally be your grocery budget for that. And it doesn't even have to be all on you. If you have a group of friends, and you all agree to pitch in, hey, I'll put in, let's start a pot to help so and so out for the next 6 months or so, or while they're going through this, and they all chip in $20 a month or something that might help with hiring a cleaner to come in and do the housework once a month. You may not be able to spot $150 or $200 cleaning bill once or twice a month for somebody else. But if you get a group of people that are willing to give up their $10 a day Starbucks habit to help somebody else, then you can get together. I always think of those groups that there's some, you hear these groups that they all get together every few months or so, and they all go out to dinner and all bring $100 bill. And then like at the end of the night, they surprise their server with like all of them throw in like $100 bill for the tip. So, the person ends up with like, an $800 tip for the night type thing. It's just a group of people putting in something small can do big things, I guess was the point of that. So
Yeah. It ties in a little bit with our guest for the Cards to Warriors. You don't have to make a donation, but a $5 donation can send out a few cards, and so sometimes it's not about making a big financial effort. Sometimes it is, if like Tina said, if there's like a piece of equipment or something like that. I think Tina does a lot of crafting and making tumblers and things like that. If you've got somebody who has a crafting ability and can make an item, and sell those items for a smaller profit, that's even a great way to support people, by t-shirts or tumblers or things like that you could donate your time and donate a little bit to help them out through a tough time. But again, it kind of goes back to just asking them what's the best way that you can help them to get through that time. Tina, talk about real quick, how do you help somebody but respect choices or things that they have in their lives?
I think a lot of us want to help, and out of natural curiosity may do their own research or read up or of this particular illness of whoever your loved one is that they're going through, and come up with all kinds of alternative methods, or just how to manage the daily life. But the important part of that is it's great to want to share because you're wanting the best for that particular person, but it's also very important. It can be overwhelming in the moment. So always just simply ask. So, hey, I was reading about this. Are you open to hear about it more? Just simply asking if they're open to hear about it versus kind of like shoving the information down, like an information like download that's being forced on them. So it's, there's so many different options, different methods, different, lots of different research and things going on in the world of medicine, that it's, I don't know. I always feel like it's good information to have, but there's times that if somebody comes to me and be like, hey, you need to be doing this, that's going to be off. That's going to put me off if I'm not if I'm not receptive to
Mhm.
hearing that at that moment in time.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of simply asking and respecting, are they in a space right now to hear more of that?
Yeah. And that can even work with like diet and exercise. And, if you follow this diet, you will feel better. Or if you, do this exercise, and sometimes it can be, you may be in a position where you're like, yeah, I want to try something like that. But it may be if somebody came up to me and said, well, you need to exercise and that will help with X, Y, and Z. And, right now I'm struggling to stand more than 30 seconds without getting tired. Sometimes it can make it seem like they're giving me what they think is like an easy thing to do and I'll feel better, but it's so much more complicated with that, especially particularly with MS. My physical therapist talked to me the other day and said, we have to figure out if this is doing more harm to you than good. So am I, the exercises I'm doing at physical therapy, if it's causing me to be tired and worn out the rest of the day, then maybe it's doing more harm than good. So sometimes you have to read the person, or if you really know them, give them advice, but also understand they may not be able to do it, or they may not agree with.
May not be receptive of that.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, that concludes our episode on how to support people with chronic illness. We really hope that you got some information out of it. And also, we encourage you again to go to cards2warriors.org. That's the number 2. And sign up yourself and any caregivers or anybody else that you would like to nominate to receive their cards. Their cards are absolutely beautiful. And Tina and I are signing up as soon as we sign off from here. Have a great week. We'll be back in 2 days. So join us Thursday when we have an interview with Carissa. And Carissa is going to tell us a little bit about her descended cerebellar tonsil and her syrinx, and how a lumbar puncture put her in bed for 20 hours a day over the last year and 3 months. So it's a very important message that she wants to share, and we're real excited to bring that to you. So have a great week, and we'll talk to you on Thursday. Take care.